Hi everyone, and welcome to another exciting video where we're learning more about how AI can support architectural workflows. In the last video, I showed you how to use Formas AI, a tool that was developed by an architect for architects, and I demonstrate how you're able to sketch your ideas and create photorealistic images using that tool. Today, we're going to be looking at something that is a bit similar to Formas, but it has been on the market for much longer. The tool we're looking at today is called Krea. You can access Krea by visiting krea.ai. Now, I learned about Krea a long time ago from this creator called Ila Colombo. She's someone worth following if you're very interested in the ways to use AI for architecture. I think they just recently did a collaboration where they 3D printed an AI chair and they gave it the name of the seed that was used to generate the chair. It was really very interesting. So I highly recommend checking it out if you are interested in furniture design or AI applications for things that can be actually built in real life. Let's get right into learning about Krea. Already I'm on the homepage. You can access Krea by creating a free account, and I believe that you have access to credits that let you create generations. So just looking over here at what we're able to do with Krea, you can make an image, you can make a video, you can use the latest Nano Banana engine, which was released by Google. You can draw real time, which is what we'll be exploring today. You could do motion transfer. You could do 3D objects, which is also very interesting. And you can build apps almost like an agentic AI, which we'll talk about in our subsequent videos on this series. Today, we're going to be looking at the real-time feature for Krea. I click on real time and it takes me back to the last thing I did. One thing that I really appreciate about Krea is that unlike many online apps for AI, it will actually store the last thing that you did and take you right back to where you left off. So it's very good if you want to finish for the day and continue another day. I find it very helpful that it has this memory built in that picks up from where you left off. Just looking at the canvas here, we have a set of tools where you can select and move objects, you can create shapes, you can generate an image, you can add an image, so you can upload a source image, you can use your camera, you can turn on your webcam and use that for image generation, and you can use a paintbrush, you can erase, you can delete, which is always helpful when you're doing AI, and you can undo and redo. And clicking on any of these with your left click button will activate the tool and what it's supposed to do on your canvas. Clicking on shapes, for example, will give you options for shapes to create. So the first thing I want to do is clean up my canvas. To do that, I'm going to use the select button and select everything on the canvas and delete. Perfect. Now I have just a pink blank canvas, and we'll get to why the color is important as we move along. So Krea, much like Formas, lets you combine a sketch or a series of illustrations with a prompt. Already you see here that I have a prompt that I've put from before. A facade with cross-laminated timber and woven wooden slats. The facade becomes a flowing timber mesh with a warm golden hue, evoking a handcrafted organic aesthetic. Daylight filters through semi-transparent wooden louvers, casting intricate shadows inside. So now that I have my prompt, which you can easily get from ChatGPT as well if you want to create your own or just be creative and write your prompts down in the prompt bar at the bottom here, I'm going to start by drawing some shapes. First shape I will draw is a rectangle, and then I will draw a circle, and then I'm going to draw a triangle. Now, you'll notice as I adapt the AI strength that the image is fluctuating. This is because the Krea is overlapping the shapes I've drawn against the background. And when I move AI strength to the max, I have a full image. But as I start to reduce the slider, it's becoming more and more of a sort of combination of the shapes that I have with the prompts that I've provided, especially heavy on the wooden slats I can see here and cross-laminated timber. And it's trying to create that in a facade. Now, if I drag that even further back, you can see that it starts to move closer and closer to the shape that I have. And you'll start to observe as I change the colors of these shapes that it actually impacts the image. So as an example, I'm going to change the color of the rectangle by using the select button again. I know it's not like most tools where you're expecting the color to be the paintbrush or something, but here, once you select the shape, you click back to the select button and then the color change picker comes out. So I'll make it red, for example, and you see that immediately changes the generation. I'm also going to make the background black because I don't think that we're getting the most that we can using this pink background. So to do that, I'll click on Canvas background at the bottom here. It's the last icon on the menu. And here you see the colors that we have for the background. And I'm going to change it to a bit of a gray, and immediately you see that that impacts the image that we have. So I haven't done a deep dive into how Krea understands colors, but I know that there is a very strong relationship between the colors that you use and the output that you get. And if I drag the slider here just a little bit, you see that it really changes what we were getting, both in terms of the integrity of the wood as well. I think the wood that we were getting initially had a bit of a pinkish hue that is no longer there. Now it's looking a bit more realistic. Okay, let's do something more interesting. Let's add an image to this. So I'm just going to use the generate image on the menu here. And I'm going to send to back. Now, this isn't ideally the kind of image I would want. I would want to be a bit more intentional with the image I generate so that it's actually contributing to the style that I want, right? But we're just exploring here, and I find it's more fun to just go with what the app gives you to start with. And then I'll click on the image and send it to back. Then I click on this shape and I change the color. I want it to be yellow. And then I want the triangle to be an even deeper black. Now I will increase and reduce the AI strength as appropriate just to see what happens there. Now, I don't think the image in the background is actually contributing positively to what we want to do, so I'm going to just delete it. And yes, now I have something that's a bit more literal. I think our illustration could use some sketches. So I'm going to use the paintbrush here and just sketch over it and just put some squiggles. And I could change the color of that as well, just to make it more visually interesting. Now, can you immediately see the direct relationship between what I'm sketching and the image being generated? It's very, very, very satisfying if you're the type of person who likes to sketch or who prefers to have some interaction with AI as opposed to just using words to generate images. I think tools like Krea and Formas give you that immediate visual feedback and satisfaction. And over time, you start to learn the language of the tool. You start to know what works and what doesn't work. So I'm just going to put some green here. I learned that green in most apps tends to be, very literally translated to foliage. Not always, but in most cases. So I just put some green there. Now we have a very chaotic image. So I'm going to increase the AI strength so that it's a bit less chaotic. And there's our image. Now I'm going to do something where I will actually change this prompt because I think that the image we're getting is heavily controlled by the prompt. I'm going to make the prompt something simpler, like the interior. Oh, look at that. That's a very interesting side effect of AI. As soon as I remove the prompt, now I'm getting a person. Okay, back to what I was typing. The interior reception lobby of a commercial office building. You see how it's changing in real time just based on my prompt. It's gone from an exterior image to an interior image. And I can just drag that. The less AI strength I have, the more cartoonish and literal it's starting to become. And the more AI strength I have, the more realistic it starts to become. And it's using those shapes. And at 100%, I can barely see the relationship between my sketch and the image. So there you have it. A very basic introduction to Krea. It's one of the most fun AI apps I've tried. It also does very cool things like video generation, generating images using your webcam, and even 3D model generation. We'll be exploring other features of Krea later on in the series, but for our next couple of videos, I'm going to be showing you how to use your own local AI controlled on your machine. The reason I think that is very valuable is a lot of people will A, run out of credits when they start to try these tools, and B, have safety concerns with these tools. And since I'm thinking about preparing you for a practice based AI workflow, I would like to show you how to use AI on your machine without any connection to the World Wide Web. Okay, that's going to be coming next. Stay subscribed and turn on your notifications. And if you haven't seen the video where I'm explaining how to use formats, then you want to watch that video that's popping up right now.